him back there. Party's back there.
After registering in the lobby, this guy thought he was going into another room for a free DVD player.
Come on in, man. Congratulations.
But Chandler police had a different prize for him and 24 others who have outstanding arrest warrants, mostly for DUIs.
Our warrant officer realized there was a huge amount of outstanding DUI warrants. He sent all of these suspects letters to their last known address informing them that they had been selected to receive a prize, and gave them a time and location where they needed to show up.
The cameras out front actually added to the atmosphere by drawing the suspects into the illusion that they were getting a prize.
Eddie Burns set up the cameras for the Chandler Police Department, one in front, one in back, and a hidden camera so officers knew when suspects were coming. When they first showed up in the lobby of the Chandler Center for the Arts, those with warrants registered at this table, and all these workers here are actually police officers.
They had their identity confirmed. They were escorted to the back by undercover officers, and they were taken into arrest.
Come on. You have a warrant for your arrest.
You've been caught up in the police sting.
What?
You have a warrant for your arrest, ma'am. You're under arrest. No, you're under arrest.
You're not going first. Thank you. This is a joke.
No, it's not a joke. You are under arrest.
What
You
for?
have a warrant for your arrest.
The officer or detective? I don't understand. Why? Did you have a ticket that you haven't taken care of?
Well, they were pretty long.
Yeah, I think so, but I don't think it went this. Oh my God!
Some people were upset, others disappointed, but all seemed surprised. After they were cuffed, the suspects were loaded into a van and taken to jail.
After police officers closed up shop and locked the door, 2 more people showed up, banging on the door, insisting they be allowed to claim their prize.
And they were arrested too.
If anybody has warrants, take care of them.
Because you never know when the prize patrol is coming.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, I'm Ben Bradley.
And I'm Lourdes Duarte. Let's get straight to breaking news this afternoon. ICE agents have arrested at least 1 person in the South Loop.
It's a chaotic scene. Let's get to Jenna Barnes. She's live with the latest. Jenna?
Hi, Ben and Lourdes. You're right indeed, a chaotic scene as the photographer just steps in front of the camera. I'm going to step out of the way so I can show you what is happening here in the South Loop. You can see police, ICE agents outside this building here as people in the street document their movements, where they're going. They just pushed this crowd of people off the sidewalk and into the street. You can hear there's a lot of shouting going on right now. And here's why. This building is called Buy Incorporated. It is a government contractor that runs the ISAP supervision program for immigrants that uses ankle bracelets, other monitoring as an alternative to detention. But these advocates that are out here this afternoon believe detention is what is happening here today. I want to show you some video that we took just a little earlier.
What are you doing with this man?
I'm here 30 years. I'm a grandfather, not even one family.
What is your name, sir?
My name is Muhammad Imran.
What is your date of birth?
30 years.
That happened just within the past couple of hours. Our camera there as ICE agents brought that man into the building this afternoon. Advocates tell us they were tipped off that ICE was detaining people here earlier this morning when a woman who's part of the ISAP program showed up for a check-in that she received a text message about earlier this week. Take a listen.
She was told to come today, no set time, no reason as to why. We also have learned that other people in Chicago that are on the ISAP program got the same message on Monday, being told the same thing. We are now in contact with family members of other individuals that are in fact physically detained at this building right now.
And it's unclear how many people exactly have been The building this afternoon, or what exactly is going on. We have reached out to ICE for information and have not heard back. At one point, police were called a little earlier this afternoon. They stayed, telling the crowd that they're here for public safety because so many people were here. We've also got a representative from the mayor's office who's been out here this afternoon. He told me he was just monitoring things for the time being. Obviously, things appear to have escalated since we last spoke to him, Ben and Lourdes.
And Jenna, we want to stay with you for a moment. Maybe the photographer could pan off and show us the scene here because it's a chaotic one. We see Homeland Security agents, we see ICE agents, Immigration and Customs enforcement agents, and this is where you get into that really tricky situation where Chicago police are not supposed to assist in immigration enforcement efforts, but they can respond to potentially volatile and dangerous situations involving other members of law enforcement. Do you have a sense, do these people, Jenna, feel like they were lured here under a false pretense simply to be arrested and potentially deported?
That is what the advocates have been telling us, and you can see they're walking people out. The people that these advocates are here for, who they believed were detained, are now being walked out in handcuffs live on air right now. They're being led into a white van that is parked in the middle of South Michigan Avenue, and you can see the advocates, the protesters, they have all gathered around this line of people. Yes, the organizer that we spoke with said that the people who are part of this program, some of them received a text message saying to show up to check in here. And he argued, well, they already know where they are. They have ankle monitors. Their location is monitored by GPS at all times. So they weren't exactly sure why they were asked to show up here, but they wanted to do it anyway because then ICE agents potentially would show up to their homes and take them there. So that is why so many people have been gathering outside this building by Incorporated in the South Loop. And now that van is slowly but surely making its way out of the crowd and away from the protesters who have gathered here. Ben, Lourdes.
Yeah, and I wonder if any of those folks plan on following that van as it moves away from that building. You can see the crowd behind you still growing. And Jenna, just sort of explain how quickly that crowd grew. That news got out fairly recently that this was happening.
It did. It grew over the course of this afternoon, but it's gotten louder once we did see these ICE agents emerge from the building, which happened truly just minutes ago. They all came out in a line, and that's when this crowd really surged because they suspected they were in there, they thought they were in there, but many people hadn't had eyes on them yet until they came out in a line, appearing as part of the process to remove the people who were detained inside the building. Now that they are walking away, walking back inside, the crowd has quieted down somewhat, but they are still in the street.
And we should mention, seeing federal agents wearing masks, their faces covered while they're, engaged in official acts is unusual. Homeland Security actually addressed that in recent days, saying that agents who were enforcing immigration laws were having their pictures posted online and their families threatened. But nonetheless, here we are on South Michigan Avenue in Chicago, seeing immigration enforcement taking place.
Okay.
And that was one of the critiques from the people we spoke with. They recognize that these agents are wearing masks, and that's something they don't want to see when this official action is underway. Ben and Lourdes.
All right, Jenna, we'll let you keep gathering some of the news and some of the reports, and we'll get back to you here in a little bit. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Shanat Sobrevilla. I'm part of Organized Communities Against Deportations, OCAD. We're also the people that answered the Family Support Network hotline, where we knew that this was a high-risk situation for our member, Yolanda Gladys Pineda. She was asked to show up today, impromptu. She got a message like hundreds of other moms, dads, brothers, sisters got on Monday. Exact copy that people were being told to show up to a check-in. These are all folks in the ISAP check-in surveillance that they have going on. She decided to show up. She had an ankle monitor. She has a daughter. She's a single mom. We talked to her and asked, made the plans as families do, knowing that they could be taken and knowing the hate that we're experiencing right now. But we were still hopeful. She went in with her attorneys. Her attorneys were separated from her immediately. They could not speak to her. They could not ask for her belongings, and she was taken to the back. We stayed. We talked to other family members. Their loved ones were inside too. And we heard that they were just holding them there with an ICE officer. There was about 10 people when we heard, through attorneys that were also advocating for their own clients. What we're witnessing is not alone. We're not only witnessing here in Chicago. We're seeing this in other cities. It's just an attempt to get numbers. Nothing more. A lot of the people here are in asylum proceedings. There's lawyers that also mentioned their clients have been granted asylum. Yolanda, she is in appeals in the 7th Circuit, should not have been taken in. Her daughter is now alone. She's 17. And we're going to be asking for her release. So we're not done today. I think what we see today is a lot of love. We saw them struggle in doing this in our town. We saw them having to negotiate whether they were going to take them from the back, which is the place they would have usually taken people, and we know that this is happening every day. Family members call us in the hotline and they tell us their loved one did not come out as expected. We saw CPD come because they called them and they showed up. We saw the officers go in and out, and who was shielded by CPD? By who was shielded ICE? It was CPD. We've been just wanting to let Yolanda know that we are here and we're going to continue to advocate for her and all the moms, brothers, fathers that were taken today. En español. Mi nombre es Shanat Sobrevilla. Yo soy parte de la organización Comunidades Organizadas contra las Deportaciones, OCAD. Junto a ICER, somos parte del equipo que contesta las llamadas de apoyo a las familias, FSN. Ya sabíamos que el día de hoy iba a ser algo muy riesgoso para nuestra miembro, Yolanda Piñeda. Pero aún así ella decidió venir acá. Ella es mamá soltera. Ella todavía tiene su caso en las cortes. Está en el 7º circuito, su apelación. Y aún así sabíamos, basado en la política y lo que estamos viendo, las llamadas que nos están tomando, que la podían detener hoy. Vino con sus abogados y sus abogados fueron separados de ella. Tratamos de mandarle mensaje, obtener sus pertenencias, nos las negaron. Recomendamos a todos los que tengamos que hacer esa decisión imposible, realmente hablar con sus familiares, con sus abogados, realmente tomar decisiones difíciles. Ninguna de las decisiones es fácil o correcta en esta manera. Estamos aquí por el amor de la comunidad. Les dejamos saber a los seres queridos que los vimos salir, que los queremos y vamos a seguir peleando. Vamos a seguir peleando para que Yolanda la liberen. Mamá soltera, deja una niña. Y ahora le voy a dar la palabra a Anthony Quesada.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anthony Joel Quesada, and I'm the alderman of Chicago's 35th Ward. That's Quesada, Q-U-E-Z-A-D-A. This afternoon, a number of us, of elected officials, were mobilized because we are members of deportation defense working groups in our communities. And we have a network of groups that coordinate citywide. And we were notified about the activities that were happening at this location earlier today, as Shanat mentioned. When we arrived, I spoke with members of people who were detained, family members of people who were detained, saying that they had no information about the status of their family members. We attempted to go inside. I went in with a daughter of someone who was detained, and they wouldn't answer any of our questions. And they actually mistreated the young person in there. And I said, you need to have respect. This is a young person looking out for their family member. and the callous response that these people have is shameful. It is absolutely shameful. I'm also quite disappointed at the very curt and cold responses that we sometimes receive by the Chicago Police Department. We have sanctuary laws in the city. We have the Trust Act, law in the state of Illinois. We want to make sure that our local law enforcement is compliant with the laws that we passed. So we ask for calm and patience as we're trying to identify all the information that's going on here today. I also want to congratulate and thank and honor all of the many dozens of community members who came out here today in solidarity and in compassion for our community members who were detained. Shortly after the Chicago Police Department departed from the area, we saw ICE officials and federal agents then start to amass vehicles to try and get into this driveway. Myself, Alderwoman Rossana Rodriguez, and Cook County Commissioner Jessica Vasquez then stood to block the driveway, practicing our First Amendment right and practicing nonviolent civil disobedience, because right now we need the moral clarity and courage to fight back against these harmful, evil policies of separation. We as public officials and we as community members must stand up and reject these policies that are devastating families. When ICE officials couldn't get in the first time, they tried wrapping around the building, and our communities back there prevented them as well. Then, in a Gestapo fashion, 50 agents or so walked down the street, stood right here in front of the driveway, then aggressively came through, knocked me down, assaulted me and other community members here today, then pulled out weapons and also pulled out their sticks, pushing some of us, punching some of us to get through to this driveway. After they did that, they cleared out the driveway. Then they came down the sidewalk where they again assaulted and pushed and punched many of us in this group, including myself. I was pushed down 3 times today by ICE agents. And I was willing to do that because that, again, is the kind of moral clarity and courage that we need to be enacting to have the dignity to fight for people. After ICE agents secured the door, over 10 people were brought out in handcuffs. Fathers, our neighbors, mothers, people were coming out here in line, crying, demanding that they not be taken away, while their family members stood on the side, crying for them to be released. This is what Trump is doing. This is what this administration is doing to separate people from our communities, and we have to stand up. We have to stand up, brothers, sisters, and siblings. Everyone in our city, across the state, and across this country. What we did here today was an example of what we need to be doing across our country. ICE is not allowed in the city of Chicago. We reject them. We reject them, and we must do everything to continue organizing, to continue keeping our members safe, our community members safe, and I will continue doing that as alderman. And I now want to kick it off next to our 25th Ward Alderman, Byron Siccho Lopez. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony, and I want to thank everybody for coming today, all the neighbors, elected officials, all the people who came and witnessed the atrocities that we continue to see across the country, but today here in Chicago. It is a shame what we witnessed today, all of us saw, and Alderman Quesada is not wrong. What we saw today is Gestapo-style abductions happening in front of all of us. These so-called agents who came in today are masked individuals. These are the masked individuals that are being deputized by the dictator-in-chief to come and step on anybody's rights. If you think that this is about only the immigrant community, think again. Think who's going to be next. You saw, and we're going to be, and publicly ask for an investigation on all those Proud Boys who came today here, these Gestapo-style extremists who came to abduct the people who came actually here to follow the law, to come here to renew the work permit, to come here to get asylum, and were abducted by the Proud Boys and the KKK. I am not afraid to tell them in their faces who they are. That's who they are. And the press, you saw their tactics. How the Chicago Police Department takes no issue on these Gestapo individuals coming and stepping on an elected official? Who did they protect and who did they serve? These are people who came to renew their work permits and were abducted. I'll give you a few cases. Now we have a mother who came in here to renew the work permit. We have a 10-year-old boy now without a mother. Shame. Who is going to take care of that mother now, or that child? So if you think that this does not concern you, let me tell you something else. These Proud Boys, these Gestapo cowards who come to our city to stand on people's rights, you know that's why they're doing it? Because they're getting bonuses to do it. Your tax dollars are paying $42,000 per Proud Boy to conduct these shameful actions. $1 billion to pay these shameful individuals. I call on these masked individuals to unmask themselves. Right. Unmask yourself if you are so proud of what you're doing. Right. Unmask yourself. We saw how many mothers came in. Almost 20 people, working people, being treated as criminals. The real criminals are in the White House, stealing Medicare. The real criminals are in the White House, stealing Social Security. The real criminals are in the White House, taking food stamps and give money to the rich funders, the corporations and the billionaires that they serve. What we saw today is a manifestation of fascism taking over our country, and we cannot normalize it. Nope. I ask on the federal officials, Senator Duckworth, Senator Durbin, you have a responsibility to call an investigation, because it's not enough to go after dictator-in-chief. These individuals, these Proud Boys who came here today to mistreat elected officials and people, should be investigated. The people who were detained today should be released because they have committed no crime. And the people here in our city will not tolerate the atrocities and the stepping on the immigrant community. So today, and I tell you publicly, this agency, ICE, does not represent public safety. Nope. This is a distraction from the real issues that should concern every single one of us. Next is going to be the LGBT community, the Muslim community, the working class people. We cannot allow this in our city. Nope. I call also, because what we see here with CPD is unacceptable. How many officers came in, saw what was happening in front of their very eyes? In front of their very eyes. This is not allowed in our city. I call on Chicago to starting today, be vigilant, be firm, be a neighbor, and do not allow the Proud Boys and the Gestapo to take over our cities, to take over our country. No more. Today said we no more. No more, and we are calling on this to be the beginning of our resistance. Where tyranny is the norm, resistance is a duty. I'm thankful for every single elected official who is here, who is not afraid to call it what it is. But a special thank you for Alderwoman Rodriguez Sanchez and Alderman Quesada for being here from the beginning. And now I want to ask you to introduce someone who was here from the beginning. Every elected official should be on this side. Every elected official should be on this side of history. No more complicity, no more silence. What we saw today, happened in Minneapolis yesterday, is going to happen everywhere. This is the time to act. Stop that bill. That horrible bill that they call beautiful is a horrible bill that is going to put billions in mass deportations to see what you saw today. Don't do it. Stop it now. That's right. Ahora me gustaría presentar en español, brevemente en español. Oh, Rosana va a hablar en español. Ahora I'm going to introduce another leader who was here, and I want to thank her for being here. Civil disobedience is what we got to do now. This is no more. I want to introduce Commissioner Jessica Vasquez, and I want to thank you for being here from the beginning.
My name is Jessica Vasquez. I'm the 8th District Cook County Commissioner. Vasquez, V-A-S-Q-U-E-Z. The city of Chicago is a sanctuary city, but Cook County is also a sanctuary county. That's right. My district, the 8th District, is a diverse district. It is an immigrant district. I am here to defend my residents. I am here to defend my neighbors. I am here to defend my family. I am the daughter of immigrants. Yes. I am here to support our community. Our community is a part of it's a part of everything that we have here in the district and in the city. It is important for us to not just speak, we need to walk the walk. That is why I'm here today. And I have to say, you know, for me, There was a lot that I saw. There's a lot of concern in the way we saw CPD and ICE engage, not just with elected officials, but with our community here as well. And so I'm grateful that everyone was able to turn out. We need to do this more. It's going to continue to happen. I'm committed to continue to fight for our neighbors, immigrant and not. We need to band together. Now's the time to stand up. Thank you so much. I am going to introduce Alderman Rosana Rodriguez Sanchez.
Hola, buenas tardes. Yo voy a hablar en español y voy a tratar de resumir un poco lo que mis colegas dijeron y añadir un poco de lo que yo presencié hoy aquí. Nosotros recibimos una llamada más temprano hoy para venir a apoyar los esfuerzos para proteger a la gente que estaban detenidas aquí dentro. Lo que vimos fue una brutalidad absoluta. Yo creo que yo no estaba preparada para el grado de brutalidad que experimentamos. Yo llegué aquí con el concejal Quesada y luego también la concejal de la 26, Jessie Fuentes, y nuestra comisionada del distrito número 8, Jessica Vázquez. Byron Sixto López estaba aquí también. Estuvimos turnándonos, yendo de un lado a otro, tratando de asegurarnos de que protegíamos a la gente y que hacíamos el trabajo lo más difícil posible de remover a la gente. Sí. Yo creo que es bien importante ahora mismo. Algunos reporteros me preguntaron que por qué estábamos exponiéndonos a arresto, que por qué estábamos tratando de impedir el paso de las camionetas de ICE, y yo creo que en este momento tenemos que pensar que tenemos que tomar esos riesgos, que tenemos que, especialmente la gente que tiene ciudadanía, la gente que tiene puestos que le permiten hacer esto, tenemos que utilizar nuestro poder ahora mismo. Y si lo que hay que hacer es exponerse a arresto, pues eso es lo que hay que hacer. Estoy diciendo esto particularmente para nuestros oficiales electos, pero tenemos que pensar en nuestras comunidades cómo nos vamos a seguir organizando para proteger a la gente. Nosotros hemos estado haciendo ese trabajo, pero hay mucho más trabajo que hacer. Hoy, por ejemplo, nos dimos cuenta de que necesitábamos más gente aquí. Cuando llegaron los oficiales de ICE, fue un momento bien traumático. Estaban todos cubiertos, las caras cubiertas completamente, marchando. Era fascismo puro lo que experimentamos aquí. Nos rompió el corazón completamente ver a la gente que se las estaban llevando, a las familias que se estaban destrozando, a la gente llorando, hombres llorando. Nos va a tomar un poquito recuperarnos de este momento, porque ver cómo se destruyen comunidades con tanta impunidad, porque ellos sabían que podían hacerlo. Ellos sacaron armas largas al frente de nosotros, tenían armas, nos estaban apuntando. Nadie aquí estaba armado. Estábamos simplemente poniendo nuestros cuerpos en la línea para proteger a nuestros hermanos y hermanas inmigrantes. Así que yo creo que ahora mismo vamos a tener que reflexionar sobre cómo nos vamos a seguir organizando, pero yo quiero invitar a todo el mundo en Chicago a reflexionar que esto es un momento de solidaridad, que tenemos que unirnos, que sabemos que tenemos una amenaza gigante viniendo de la administración federal de Trump. Lo que yo vi hoy me dejó fría, la capacidad que tenían esas personas que estaban enmascaradas de hacer daño. No les importaba absolutamente nada, era como ver gente sin alma caminando, cuerpos caminando programados. Y yo creo que en este momento el amor de nuestra comunidad, la solidaridad que nos podemos entregar unos a otros va a ser lo más importante que podemos hacer. También quiero decir, Geo Group es la agencia privada que está manejando esto para ICE, y queremos decirle a toda la gente que tiene edificios en la ciudad de Chicago, no le alquilen espacios a gente que vienen a separar a nuestras comunidades.
¡Desgraciado!
Es bien importante que podamos hacer eso. Hace falta una campaña grande para prevenir que esta gente pueda tener un espacio desde donde separar a las familias de nuestras comunidades. Así que vamos a seguir luchando. ¿Y ahora quién tengo que presentar? Y ahora voy a llamar a la concejal Julia Ramírez al micrófono.
Hola, buenas tardes. Hi, everyone. My name is Julia Ramirez. I am the alderwoman of the 12th Ward. What I see today is people power.
Right.
This didn't just happen overnight. What I feel right now is trauma. My body is shaking. There are tears that I am holding back, and I know that I am not alone. yesterday, just on the southwest side, we had 4 ICE sightings. And it's not just about government or CPD, because as we've seen today, we have laws in place, but we need to hold them accountable. That is why we organize. We organize about peace, about family, about keeping people together. You want to know why? Because yesterday it was about the Venezuelans. And now it's about all migrants. People are being profiled. There are kids that are being suspected at their high schools. People are being chased from their community. They're being followed from their homes. People are not meant to be tracked. They need to live lives of dignity. And so I want to thank everybody here. I hope everybody that's watching me today can show compassion, that sees the hurt that people are living because it has been completely politicized. Do not pick the side that has completely put us and pinned us consistently throughout the history of the United States. We are stronger together because, as was mentioned, today it was these families. The next, it can be your neighbors. It can be our workers. It can be our students. So I want to thank my colleagues. It disturbs me that I show up and I hear that people that put their lives on the ground for our families. We should have respect for the people who fight for our voices, and I demand that our mayor and our other elected officials see the way that we need to fight for our families. So thank you so much for everybody here, and I'm so proud to stand with everybody behind me. I'm going to be bringing up a Southwest Side leader, Alderman Mike Rodriguez.
Throughout the country, we know who they're arresting. They're arresting people that are putting food on our tables and roofs over our heads. But we do not know who's arresting our brothers and sisters because they're hiding behind masks. Cowards. And when I was growing up, those who were hiding behind masks were criminals. And that's what we have today, taking our brothers and sisters and our neighbors from us. Criminals, led by a president who's a felon, a convicted felon, taking away individuals who are putting food on our tables as migrant farm workers, people who are putting roofs over our heads as construction workers, being taken away by people in masks. I think we visited this history before in our lifetimes, in our brothers and sisters and our grandfathers and our forefathers' lifetimes. We've seen this before. This is Gestapo tactics. This is tactics that we've seen throughout the world that's now here in our very eyes. And we've got to stand united and say no. Not in our city, not in our county, not in our neighborhood, not in our streets. Ya basta. Que llevan nuestros hermanos y hermanas, trabajadores y trabajadoras, se están llevando a la cárcel a unas personas que tienen máscaras, que no podemos ver sus caras. Eso quiere decir que esos son los criminales, no nuestros hermanos y hermanas. I'd like to now bring up the chairperson of the Latino Caucus, chairperson of the Committee on Immigration and Refugee Rights, 40th Ward Alderperson Andre Vasquez.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm having a hard time even finding the words. We're here in what we call the United States of America, watching a fascist, small, weak, evil, insecure man dividing a country. We're seeing families being separated and torn apart. Mothers, daughters, being carted out by the state, by government, by people with weapons. And we're watching profiteers like Geo Group falsely getting people here who want to follow the law, law-abiding people coming to report to do the right thing, and they come to meet the government with guns looking to separate families. There is nothing united about that. We're the city of Chicago, a welcoming city unless you're a fascist. A welcoming city founded by an immigrant and an indigenous woman. That is who we are. That is who we will remain. It is why we show up and we don't leave. Martin Luther King teaches us all we have a moral obligation to disobey unjust laws. And what we saw today was elected officials and people doing exactly that because they understand if you give an inch, they'll take it all. They come for those they feel are the weakest, those they feel are defenseless. What do you think they're going to do to the whole city of Chicago if we allow any of that to move forward? They won't make a distinction. In this country, we have three groups of people. The indigenous people who had their land stolen from them, descendants of slaves who were stolen from their land and built this country, and everyone else is an immigrant or descended from immigrants. And if you don't understand that, go look in the mirror, learn your history, and stop allowing yourself to be divided by someone who's seeking to gain power while making this country worse. We're never going to stand for it. And as it relates to the city of Chicago, any involvement that this Chicago Police Department has in this welcoming city is going to be investigated. We're moving forward to call for a hearing to understand what happened here, and any single time there's any interaction, any paragraph where the words ICE and CPD are in the same sentence. We want to know what's happening because these are your tax dollars, right, in this welcoming city. So we're going to call on Mayor Johnson to make sure there's accountability in place for the police department he is the boss of. But this is something you should all know. We're not going anywhere. We're going to be right here every single time. And if you're out there and need help, si ustedes son inmigrantes y necesitan ayuda, tienen que llamar a ICER por cualquier cosa, pero necesitan información. El número es 855-435-7693. If you're out there and you're undocumented and you're trying to do the right thing and you have a doubt about what text message you're getting about showing up where, you call ICER 855-435-7693. This is the city of Chicago. It is the most American city in the country. It's going to remain that way, even if the White House is un-American. Thank you very much. And next up, I'd like to introduce my colleague, the alderperson from the 26th Ward, Jesse Fuentes.
I want to speak to every individual that's watching today. But before I do that, I want to thank every organizer, every IPO member, every attorney, every neighbor, organizations like OCAT, ICER, Palenque, LSNA, who showed up today to protect our neighbors, who showed up today to protect our families. Thank you for putting your bodies on the line to make sure that we can keep families together. But to the individuals that are watching, don't let that fascist man that sits in the Oval Office convince you that he is only deporting criminals. Don't let that manipulative man convince you that we are better without the people that he is kidnapping from our city. Do not let the White House convince you that we are safer because of what he is doing. In fact, what he is doing is putting our communities at the most risk. He is leaving behind children. He is separating families. He is taking away providers. He is taking away organizers from our community. The people that showed up today, they showed up in good faith. They showed up with cases. They showed up with attorneys. They showed up with every single law on their side to ensure that they went back home to their families, and they were kidnapped today by ICE. Do not let anyone else convince you otherwise. And for everyone who is watching who may know a neighbor or a relative, who may receive a text message to show up to an appointment, they may have come from this nonprofit organization getting millions off of kidnapping people.
Shame on them. Shut it down.
Remind them that they have elected officials who will ensure that we shut it down.
Shut it down.
that we will demand our mayor in every single department in the city of Chicago to find where they are renting, and we will shut them down.
Shut it down!
Because in the city of Chicago, there are elected officials who wish to keep you safe. Despite that man that's in the Oval Office, you have local elected officials that wish, that work, that will put our bodies on the line to keep you safe. Those individuals that showed up today, they're kidnappers, and we can't call them anything else. They robbed families of their mothers, they robbed families of their siblings, they robbed families of their fathers. The image that will forever be ingrained in my head will be the women in handcuffs crying, begging their families to help. The fathers who were taken out of that building crying, begging for us to help. And so we will do just that. We will not rest until we ensure that we demand for their release, because they have every right to be here. And until ICE and all these organizations understand that Chicago is not the place to come. We won't let it happen. It happened in Minneapolis yesterday, they tried it here today, and it won't happen again. It is my honor to introduce a partner that's been in this work for a really long time. Someone in many cases who educates me. Please help me welcome a good friend, Ray Wences.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ray Wences. My pronouns are they, them. I am here as the Senior Director of Deportation Defense for the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights. We are here to show solidarity with Yolanda and the people inside who were lured here only to be separated from their families. Over the last 24 hours, there have been multiple confirmed sightings in different Chicago neighborhoods and throughout the state. We are getting calls to the Family Support Network hotline to report this. They are trying to break us, but when we organize, we know that we protect each other. This is a moment where our communities must know their rights and know the resources available to them. If you see any possible ICE activity or know someone who has been detained, call the Family Support Hotline at 855-435-7693 and connect with organizations like ICER, OCAD, the Resurrection Project, Palenque, many organizations that are here and are part of an ecosystem of care and support, because we care about each other. For everyone and for those watching, remember that you have rights. You have the right to film police activity and law enforcement activity. You have the right to remain silent if you are arrested or detained, and you have the right to speak to an attorney, and you have the right to due process. And so we will continue to organize and ensure our communities know their rights. Thank you. ¿En español? Okay. Estamos aquí el día de hoy para mostrar apoyo a Yolanda y a la gente que estuvo adentro y a los que les mintieron y desafortunadamente fueron separados de sus familias. Durante las últimas 24 horas hemos recibido reportes de actividad de ICE en diferentes barrios de la ciudad de Chicago y también alrededor del estado de Illinois. Nosotros contestamos la línea de apoyo familiar, donde llegan los reportes, donde la gente pide apoyo porque ha habido redadas. Y lo que sabemos es que Trump y el Departamento de Seguridad Nacional están expandiendo el miedo y causando pánico. Y nos están tratando de quitar el derecho a un proceso justo. Y nos están tratando de romper. Pero cuando organizamos, nos protegemos. Y este es el momento en que nuestras comunidades tienen que saber sus derechos y saber de los recursos disponibles para todos. Si usted conoce o sabe o piensa que ha visto actividad de ICE o conoce a alguien que ha sido detenido, llame a la línea de apoyo al 855-435-7693. Conéctese con organizaciones proinmigrantes como ICER, OCAD, el Proyecto Resurrección y otros, para que son parte de un sistema, de un ecosistema de apoyo y de cuidado, porque nosotros nos cuidamos el uno al otro. Porque estamos bajo ataque, sabemos que cuando nos juntamos y luchamos podemos defender a nuestras comunidades. Para todos los que están viendo en casa, recuerde que usted tiene derechos. Tiene el derecho a grabar la actividad de oficiales de la ley tiene el derecho a permanecer en silencio si es arrestado o detenido, tiene el derecho a hablar con un abogado y tiene el derecho a un proceso justo. Seguiremos organizando y aseguraremos que nuestras comunidades sepan sus derechos. Gracias.
Any questions from the press?
Can you explain, puedes explicarlo en español tal vez, o alguno de ustedes, qué estaba haciendo la policía de Chicago, el papel que cumplió y si intercedió de alguna manera en este operativo, de qué forma lo hizo y qué reclamo le van a hacer a la municipalidad?
The question is how CPD was involved with what happened here today. Cuando nosotros llegamos había muchísima policía. Luego de que estuvimos aquí un rato, más policía llegó, incluyendo uno de los vans grandes donde arrestan gente. Nosotros tratamos de entender cuál era el rol que la policía estaba jugando. Ellos nos dijeron que la razón por la que estaban aquí es porque recibieron una llamada en el 911 de que había un oficial in distress, un oficial que se sentía intimidado. No nos explicaron qué tipo de oficial era, si era federal, si era estatal o si era de la ciudad. Tratamos de entender eso, no nos estaban dando información, fue un poquito difícil comunicarnos con la policía. Finalmente el superintendente se llevó a los oficiales que estaban aquí, pero sí, pues ellos estuvieron aquí, estuvieron a punto de arrestarnos también cuando las camionetas estaban a punto de entrar y pues la impresión que se llevó muchísima gente en la comunidad es que la policía de Chicago estaba colaborando con inmigración, lo cual sabemos que está prohibido y es ilegal, así que vamos a seguir tratando de entender qué fue lo que pasó y asegurándonos de que esto nunca vuelva a pasar, porque nuestras comunidades están mucho menos seguras cuando eso pasa. Somebody wants to say it in English?
I didn't hear what you said.
Okay, I'm going to say it in English. When we got here, we tried to have conversations with CPD to have a better understanding of what they were doing here. It was very hard to get the information. CPD told us that they were here because they received a 911 call of an officer in distress. They did not specify what kind of officer it was, if it was federal law enforcement, if it was city. And they said that they just have to respond whenever something like that happens. That, to us, was very problematic because everybody that has been here for several hours and observed what has happened, the understanding was that the police was here assisting ICE. The officers were inside of that building, which was incredibly problematic. We went in, Alderman Quesada and I went in several times to try to better understand why they were in there, because we didn't think that there was a need for it. They continue to say that once they arrived here, they were here for the safety of everybody. I don't think that the people that were here felt safe seeing that kind of interaction. So we are going to inquire further, and we're going to make sure that this doesn't happen again. We believe that it is incredibly problematic, and it goes against the trust that we have been trying to create in our communities, feeling people, making people feel like they're safe here in Chicago.
Any other questions, comments by the press?
Anthony habló en primera persona de las agresiones que sufrió. Tal vez, Rosana, ¿puedes contarnos tú las agresiones que sufriste
Cuando llegaron los oficiales de ICE, finalmente se dieron cuenta de que había muchísima gente aquí, que iba a ser difícil. Sheila Betty, una de las abogadas que estaban aquí, les dijo a los oficiales: no tienen que hacer esto se va a tornar violento. Pero ellos no estaban escuchando a nadie, llegaron con muchísima rabia y estaban listos para empujarnos, nos empujaron a todos, nos golpearon a todos con las armas que tenían. Tiraron al Alderman Quesada, el concejal Quesada estuvo en el piso varias veces. Todos nos sentimos un poco adoloridos porque tuvimos que pelear con ICE. Y nos parece que no había la necesidad de hacer eso. Ellos estaban listos para lastimar a quien tuvieran que lastimar para poder llevarse a la gente.
As mentioned, people should call the Family Support Network hotline for information. They should check in with their attorneys before coming in, and also having a plan. We don't know, they're unpredictable agencies. At this point, we know what they're doing, so people should have a plan and talk to their family members and come with someone.
Tonight with breaking news, ICE activity in the South Loop sparking protests.
Let's get right to Casey Cronus with what is happening there now. Casey.
Dawn and Scott, there's been a lot of confusion and chaos unfolding here this afternoon in the 2400 block of South Michigan. Now, we are outside of a Department of Homeland Security intensive supervision appearance program. This is where immigrants who are seeking status are called every so often to check in. Officials here say that several immigrants were called to this office earlier today in the last several hours, and they were detained. They say they were called here, under false pretext, and they were taken away in a van. That is when people started to make some phone calls. Community members started to arrive. Advocates began showing up along with elected officials. We're told that one woman, a mother here in Chicago, was taken away. Take a listen.
We're seeing this in other cities. It's just an attempt to get numbers. Nothing more. A lot of the people here are in asylum proceedings. There's lawyers that also mentioned their clients have been granted asylum. Yolanda, she is in appeals in the 7th Circuit, should not have been taken in. Her daughter is now alone. She's 17. And we're going to be asking for her release.
Now, elected officials, including Alderman Byron Sigcho Lopez, tells us that some of these immigrants came here with their attorneys and their family members because there is, of course, a lot of fear when it comes to stopping by for a check-in. They say that the immigrants who showed up at this office were separated from their attorneys, were denied their right to have their attorney with them, and that when those elected officials and other community members tried to ask for help, insert themselves, that dozens of ICE agents showed up and made sure that this van where these individuals were taken was allowed to get away. We don't know exactly how many individuals were placed in that van, but we're hearing that it is upwards of 10. Listen to what Alderman Sigcho Lopez has to say.
Real criminals are in the White House stealing Medicare. The real criminals are in the White House stealing Social Security. The real criminals are in the White House taking food stamps and give money to the rich funders, the corporations and the billionaires that they serve. What we saw today is a manifestation of fascism taking over our country.
We reached out to ICE for a statement and are still waiting to hear back. We also reached out to the Chicago Police Department because CPD was also on scene at one point when chaos was unfolding here and community members were trying to stop that van from leaving. We are waiting to hear what their role in the response was. For now, reporting live in the South Loop, Casey Cronus, Fox 32, Chicago.